Do you remember your first experience in regards to like your first punches, like your first time competing or at least sparring?
Most people, like I know you mentioned like wrestling and stuff, and I know a lot of people have either a boxing background or wrestling background. I actually had no background. I started with MMA. I joined an MMA gym March of 2021. Before that, I did some private one-on-one lessons with an amateur MMA fighter, probably about twice a week for like 3 or 4 months. And finally, he was like, "Hey, look, like you need to just come to the gym. Like you're getting pretty good. Like I'd like for you to meet the coach."
If you started in 2021, you excelled greatly.
Well, I was addicted.
That's passion. Yeah,
it was. I mean, from the moment I started, I was there 6 days a week, multiple classes a day. I'm taking the fundamental classes with like brand new beginners. I'm still taking fundamental because I got just as much of it as I can get. Like I'm going to do that. You know, as much time as I have, that's where it's going. But so basically the guy that I was working with, the amateur fighter at the time, he looked at me, he's like, "Yeah, you should come out to the gym on Saturday. I'll introduce you to the coach. We've got some girls there. They're a little smaller than you, but they've been training for a while. Like you should see how you size up with them." And that to me was like a challenge. I was like, oh, okay, let me show up. And so at the time there was a girl there, she's from Mongolia. I didn't know this. I didn't even know what judo was back then, but she was like a judo champion over there. But was kind of just getting her feet into like the whole MMA side of things. And so my striking at the time had been what I had started off mostly doing, just pad work and stuff. So I went with her. We were like same weight class. And I was doing pretty good on my feet. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm definitely bigger and stronger than this girl. Let me just take her down. So I went to do a double leg takedown and landed it, so I thought, until she sat through and flipped me over and landed on top of me and just starts ground and pounding.
Yeah, it's like,
and
okay.
I'm like, and I just remember having this feeling of like, I took you down. How am I getting punched in the face on my back right now? Like what Matrix type stuff just happened? Like I was sitting there trying to do
I had the upper hand.
I was, and that was kind of like my first like awakening of like, yo, there's level. You might be athletic and strong and tough, but there's levels to this. So that was probably my first humbling experience. And the very first day that I walk into the gym is on Saturday, and that was our sparring day. So I go from literally never taking a traditional class. I just paid for private lessons for probably like 20 private lessons, but I would guesstimate, right? To I am joining the live sparring, doing 5-minute rounds with small gloves and takedowns and things like that. And for me, I'm like, all right, I'll figure it out. And a lot of the grappling has come very naturally based off my gymnastics background and just all the sports and stuff that I played. Then my next round, I went with a girl named Rachel Martinez, who went on to go pro, and she's fights up in Chicago, but she was really quick, a lot smaller than me, and so I wasn't like super worried about her hurting me, but she hit me with this double switch kick. So the first kick lands on my thigh. So then when I see the second kick come up, I go to kind of like block my thigh right across my jaw to the point where my bite is a little bit off. And so for like a couple days, like I'm just, and I love, but it was in that moment when she hit me, it was kind of like, I don't want to say a wake up call, but this like jolt of like when you jump in like an ice cold bath or something like that, you're like, oh shoot, like I'm really doing this. Like
I'm doing this.
And I had this like, instead of being like, oh, this hurts, I'm done. It was like, I'm gonna get you back. Oh, okay. Like this is what we're doing. All right, let me try to get you now.
You're motivated.
And it was honestly like I don't know, like a flip switch. And it was in that moment that I realized it wasn't just something I was doing for self-defense, that like, I'm doing this.
Because normally it's an out-of-body experience. Like things are happening in slow motion and you're sort of like above yourself watching it happen.
Yep.
But if you're there and you're present, then the passion is there. I got introduced to mixed martial arts when I was in the military. We were doing military combatives. It was embarrassing. Because, I come from boxing, but in my culture, where I'm from, you never go to the floor.
Yep.
That's how you get stomped out and really, really hurt. So when you go to the floor, it's a full panic. So they saw I was good on my feet, and when they took me to the ground, like I'm immediately always trying to muscle up, always. And then I tire myself out, and I'm just getting beat by people I shouldn't get beat. And my instructor was like, stop muscling it up, man. He's from Michigan. He's a cool dude, and he had to teach me it's a dance. You got to just be calm and just watch everything, because you can get subbed and all of that stuff like that. But it was embarrassing. I just kept getting subbed out because I just didn't like being on the floor. So,
but it's crazy, the span of 3 years for you.
Yeah.
You're only.
That's crazy.
Yeah, in 3 years, and all this has been accomplished. All this has happened.
You got to want it.
Such a short time.
It's crazy because in the moment it doesn't feel like that fast, but then when you look back at it, it is like a blink of an eye,
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think like with my mentality of like, as soon as I'm stepping, and there's probably videos of me stepping out of the cage after a win, looking over like, when's the next one? Like, when are we doing this again?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not celebrate the win and take a week, because a lot of fighters they'll take a week or a month or, you know, a little hiatus after they win.
Happy to survive.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just like that for me. It's like, what do I have to take time off from? Like, this is what I love. You know, it's like, I don't need a vacation from my vacation.
I love the game. I love the hustle, man.